is it? Yeah, 6:30. So we're going to start. We have the quorum, and Pete is going to join us late. Before I open the hearing for the Barnstable Conservation Commission, I would like to ask Angela to do a roll call for the quorum purpose.
Thank you, Tom. Abadili.
Present.
Hearn.
Present.
Koshulik.
Present.
Lee.
Present.
Tangney present. Administrator Ed Hoops.
Present.
Staff member Kim Kavanaugh.
Present.
And I will look for Pete signing in late.
Thank you.
We have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Acting under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and or Chapter 237 of the Code of Town of Barnstable, the Barnstable Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on August the 5th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. for the applications of Patrick J. Mellon, Trustee, Ships Eagle Lane Nominal Trust, Hugh S. and Catherine B. Ferguson, Trustee, Ferguson Family Trust, Tobias Willows, Nicholas S. Theohardist. This hearing is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government's Access Channel. The plans and applications are on file and may be reviewed by scheduling appointments by sending email requests to @hoops@230 South Street, Hyannis. In accordance with the Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20, please let the chair know if anyone is recording this hearing. Hearing none, tonight's hearing agenda is posted on the town's website. On the agenda, next to each application is the amount owed to the Town of Barnstable for the cost of advertisements. Please send your checks to the Conservation Division at 230 South Street before the hearing. Remote participations. The Conservation Commission's public hearing will be held by remote participation as a result of an act extending certain COVID-19 measure adopted during the state of emergency signed by the governor on March 28, 2025, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. Remote public access to this hearing shall be provided in the following manner. 1. The hearing will be televised via Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via Town of Barnstable's Government's Access Channel. 2. The real-time public comment can be addressed to the Conservation Commission utilizing the Zoom link 870-0710-6268 or use the toll-free phone number 888-475-4499 as shown on the agenda. 3rd, the public can also email the comments to edwin.hoops@town.barnstable.ma.us at least 8 hours prior to the hearing. For the general public, I just want to mention that the Conservation Commission's jurisdictions is solely based on the State Wetland Protection Act, 310 CMR 10.00, and the local ordinances for the Wetland Protection Act, Chapter 237. I think this is important. For your information, the 4th NOI tonight, the Tobias Willer has requested for a continuance without testimony to a date to be scheduled within 21 days after we have received these requested existing conditional plans. And secondly, on the second continuance tonight for Stephen and Wendy D'Angelo, the applicant has requested for a continuance without testimony to September the 9th. We don't have any RDA tonight, but we have 5 NOIs. The first one is Patrick J. Mellon, Trustee, Ships Eagle Lane Nominal Trust, to construct a set of stairs for additional shorefront access at 52 Ship Eagle Lane, Barnstable, as shown on the Assessors Map 164, Parcel 022. John?
Good evening, John O'Day from Sullivan Engineering Consulting. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It says I'm muted. I'm representing the applicant. I will work on bringing up the plan for you. This project is located at 52 Ships Eagle Lane, abutting the Centerville River. We have approximately a 3.5 acre parcel developed with a house from 1880. We've got about 500 feet of shoreline frontage. We are also in common ownership with an additional dwelling across the street and two other parcels. So we have a total of around 7 acres of land. The existing house, if you had a chance to visit the site, has a room that's actually built out into the bank. And so there is the current access stairs down to the shoreline are along the eastern side of that room. There is no access to the shorefront from the western half plus of this property or from those other parcels. You have to either go through the house or around. And so we are just looking to gain some access down to the shorefront for the remainder of that land. We have proposed a 4-foot elevated stairway. We're able to design it so that we can intersect with a landing that's about mid-bank down. We hope that that sort of can minimize any disturbance to the bank area. We are not impacting any trees. We have added the dimensions were shown in the profile view per staff's request. We've added them to the detailed plan view section as well. I think with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions about the project.
Thank you, John. The date on this revised plan is July 31st. Question from the commissioner. John?
Just a question for Ed. Ed, I assume if we approve this, it's the usual standard construction techniques for the stairs with the spacing, et cetera, et cetera. Is that correct, Ed?
That's right. Yeah, but it'll just be the standard according, and I think it's also on the plan as well. So.
Okay, thank you, Ed.
Thank you, John. Bill?
Yeah, I visited the site, and I look at the existing stairs that are in place, and there's a section in there where there's some erosion underneath it, and another section that it looks very good and it has beach grass. I think if I had a problem with this, it's the long path. They have a long path that basically is running right along the bank, and I'm thinking that does not seem like a good thing to be having people walk right along the very edge. I mean, literally within a foot of the drop off. There's a very steep drop off there, and there's a long footpath. Over time, I think that might not be good for that bank, and I wondered if it might be possible to have an alternative access to those stairs in which, there's a stone wall there. And I know that's an expense to try to cut out a slot in that stone wall, but it would certainly, I think, spare the bank along the slope, the cliff, basically. Is it possible, John O'Day, to not have that access be that real long strip running along it? On the right side, you can see that it says 4-inch grass, and there's a path, and it goes all the way along, right along the edge. And I'm thinking that can't be healthy for that coastal bank.
It's something, I guess, that we could look into further. I think that we and the applicants are pretty mindful of the bank. I would tell you that sort of originally the stairs were just kind of landing at this top platform, and when we sort of staked it out as a final time for everyone to view with, we thought that was getting to be still a little bit too much of a slope at the top, which is why we've included this sort of 12-foot stretch here. I think the applicants have done a lot to try to maintain and preserve the bank. They did do a restoration project not that long ago, and they certainly don't want to see those efforts go to waste.
We met, I was over there with Angela this morning, and we met the owner, very, very lovely gentleman, and he talked about having Wilkinson in there doing that bank stabilization, and it looks good. You know, I mean, there is underneath the existing stairs some erosion, and yeah, you know, I'm like going, yeah, I can see the stairs, but that path, I mean, there's a long path that you're going to be like trucking right along the edge of that. And if you could just knock out a hole in that wall, it would avoid all of that and help protect that path, the top of the bank. I would hope that you could do that.
Thank you, Bill. Angela?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Bill, but I do have to say first that the vegetative restoration project looked great. It was limited impact to the resource, and I like the way they have it. It's grown in very nicely in the stairs that they do have. Yeah, my concern is the way they're running that path, because the only break in the wall is way down near their beach house, is they're going to have a lot more traffic on that path, and it's extremely steep and narrow right now. So I guess what Bill and I guess I'm asking too is there's no other way to go through the wall earlier so we don't have that path along the top? Or is there any way to go over the wall, or is this the only access now? Because they haven't been using this to get down to the dock. So that path is very narrow and not worn, but once this stairway is in to get there, it's going to definitely have more traffic there. So I guess that's what we're asking, John.
It's something that we could go back to the group with. It we did not, talk about it. I don't think that this isn't getting opened up to the entire street. This is still just one family. We're not anticipating heavy traffic. I think they're going to want to protect the bank themselves with all that's invested in it and landward of it. And I think we could always be adjusted later if there was an issue. But today we have not discussed it with them. So I think if the commissioners feel very strongly about that we would just need to work with them to see if or how that could be accomplished. And
I think we're just looking at other options just because it's the first time we've seen this plan. And I was going to ask you, can you use your cursor? Where is the break in the wall? So everybody can see. It's way down.
It comes down off of this patio here. It's probably just at that cutoff.
Right. So see, it is a lot of walking on the other side of the thing. And we were just we didn't walk it because it is steep off of there and very narrow. We walked inside, had to go through the house and around. So we understand the need for this, or the want for this. It is really a need. But we were just trying to figure out a way to reduce that impact right at the top of the wall. And the other thing was, and I know you wrote this up in your narrative, was a direct stairs straight down, because they have actually access down below. You couldn't fit through without removing any trees and do actually less to the bank by doing that from that break.
When we were talking, I think in our narrative about, it wasn't necessarily critical to them to attach in the midpoint. They would have been fine going straight down to the bottom and walking along the bottom of the bank back towards the pier. And I think that could have been accomplished in some configuration through here without impacting trees, but it would have been twice as long to get all the way to the bottom of the bank. I think is what we were.
Okay, thank you. Again, it's not really the stairs that are wrapping around. It's that whole access to get to them that's in the resource, I think, that we have concerns with. Thank you.
Bill, your hand's still up.
Oh, no, well, no, now it's down.
John O'Day, so with the proposed stair, would you minimize the use of the walking path there, or you still need to use it?
I think that we could work with the applicants to find a closer access point. I just don't know, standing here today without standing with them out there, is it cutting the wall? Is it going through here, or is it sliding 30 feet down this way, but the grade would still work? I can't answer today exactly how that would work. I can tell you that we can get together with them and hear the comment and address it. If the commissioners want to see the exact solution, I think would have to come back in a couple of weeks with that final, or if they're comfortable just giving us the direction of lessen it, we can work that too and work with staff to get them a plan showing how that would be accomplished.
Okay.
Tom, if I might.
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I would I encourage you to talk to the owners, and the closer you get to that where the stairs are, there's a little platform or whatever that's about 12 feet long. If you could potentially even put an opening in the wall right there, so much the better. Rather than the closer you get to the house, the better. But I really encourage you to see if that's an option. I think it would be good. Thanks,
Bill. John?
Yes, I think given what I saw, given the work that's being done by Wilkinson and homeowners' care of that, I think I am willing to go with an approval of the project with following Bill's recommendation that they meet with staff afterwards after they take a look with the staff. But I think right now it's almost de minimis, and I put this in light of the total project. So, John, as far as I'm concerned, I'd approve it subject to Bill and Angela's recommendation. You go back to the homeowners and then meet with staff on this, and I'll be all right with that.
So that would be a revised plan after the approval as
Right.
as
Subject to staff signing off on that thing.
Yep. Okay.
That's me.
I would do the same thing. Let me go to the public. Channel 18, any public comment on this one?
Seeing none.
None. Could I have a motion to approve this project with the revised plan date July 31st and subject to a future revised plan depending on the homeowner revision in terms of the access to the path and subject to staff's review.
And approval. Staff's review and approval.
Staff's reviews and approval.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
Hearn.
No.
Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Sampu. Oh, he's not. I'm sorry. He didn't sign in. I'm going to go with aye with approval from the staff. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4,
4 to 1.
5, 4 to 1. Yep.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Good luck. The second NOI is Hugh S. and Catherine B. Ferguson, trustee, Ferguson Family Trust, to demolish and rebuild dwelling and deck in the existing footprint with a proposed porch at 214 Annabelle Point Road, Sanderville, as shown on the assessors maps 211, parcel 009. John.
Yes, good evening. John O'Day from Sullivan Engineering Consulting again. Also here in the meeting room is the applicant, Hugh Ferguson. I will bring up this plan for you all. This project is located at 214 Annabelle Point Road in Centerville. We are abutting Lake Wequaquet. We have an existing dwelling that was constructed in the 1930s by the applicant's family, who owned this cottage as well as other houses on the street and in town. Their project as proposed is to reconstruct this dwelling and deck. It is Hugh's goal to utilize the existing foundation. But we have listed this as a full demolition in case that is needed as they start taking the framing down if there's any unforeseen issues with the foundation. But it would be replaced within the exact footprint. The dwelling would go back in exactly the same footprint. There's an existing sort of wraparound deck that would be being replaced. We are proposing a porch, which is sort of wrapping around this southeast corner. It is mostly within the existing deck footprint. There is a small corner of additional footprint just to square that off. This would be an elevated porch at this point, would be up in the air. I think we listed it in our narrative. about an average of 5 feet above the grade. So there is a slight increase in square footage. We have provided buffer zone, and that is the only change on the site. We have provided the buffer zone calculations. We are offering mitigation for that additional square footage. We have a work limit on the plan. I think that this will remain a pretty modest dwelling on the lake. And with that, I think Hugh or myself would be happy to answer any questions the commissioners may have.
Thank you, John. Bill.
Yeah, I like the mitigation where it's located. And I guess I'm okay with the project, assuming that there is, monitoring for 3 years of that planting. I want to make sure that goes in and takes, if you will. And that planting would not be mowed or otherwise. It would, and I wonder if is it going to be delineated? Is there a way of delineating where the mitigation is? Because I think that's an important ingredient to this project.
I think that we could certainly add delineation to this plan and this approval, and it would not be mowed. It is all woody vegetation, so I don't foresee any issues with that, and I can understand the request for monitoring. That's pretty standard.
Bill, what do you mean by delineation? Are you talking about
like the little stones or what have you? How we normally delineate it with the markers.
I call it demarcation.
Demarcation. Okay, demarcation.
You throw me off a little bit.
Whatever. It's not in there, and I think it's important.
Okay.
Thank you,
Angela.
Yeah, same thing. I agree with Bill. The mitigation is nicely spread out and it's in the appropriate place for the resource. So I don't really have a problem with this. I just want to make sure, John, you said at this point it's going to stay a raised deck with 4 or 5 feet clearance under it. You didn't mean that there's a plan to change that, correct?
No, it will remain as we extend landward, where its existing deck gets closer to grade, but as you saw, that it's falling off there, so that grade below will continue to fall off below it, and the deck will stay flat.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you. Yes, no problem with this. Thank you.
John, right now on your plan, it does not show the demarcations, right?
It does not.
Okay. So I may need a revised plan showing the demarcations in the area. Any other question from the commissioner?
Yeah, Tom. Yes, Tom. Jeffrey.
Yes, Jeff.
Yeah, John. Is the septic? I know the septic's out of the 50, but in the 100 is the septic good? Is it to be revamped? Is there sewer? Is there sewer nearby?
I believe there's sewer nearby, and the intent is to just maintain the existing, hopefully for a couple of years until that makes it here. I do know from the applicant that they were just mentioning this week that the pumpers were coming to sort of take care of all the houses. So I think that they've been being maintained over the years to keep them working.
So the sewer is not quite up in that area?
It's not there yet.
Okay. Any other question from the commissioner? 10:18, any public comment on this one?
Seeing none.
None. Could I have a motions to approve this project's subjects to a revised plan showing the demarcations and an annual report for 3 years?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili?
Aye.
Hearn?
Aye.
Kashulik?
Aye.
Lee?
Aye.
And Tangney, aye. So that's unanimous, the 5 of us.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much.
The third NOI is Tobias Wello to demolish garage wings of existing house and reconstruct in more accessible positions, modify landscaping amenity, including driveways, patio, rinse stations, and landscaping, and 25 Cove Lane, Osterville, as shown on the Assessors Map 052, Parcel 009. Aline?
Good evening. Arlene Wilson here for the applicants, the Wheelos. Also available on the call is Charlie Page, the landscape architect, and Ron Welch, who will be the contractor. And I will try and share my screen. There we go. So this is the site plan. I know that several of you were out to the site today. And you are aware of the difficulties of using the current driveway. And so the idea here is to demolish the garage wing, reconstruct it in a configuration that allows access from the road. So the garage doors will now face the road, and to have a parking court on the street side of the house. This house sits on a ridge quite high above Katuitt Bay. There's a very steep coastal bank, but the house platform is on the Katuitt Bay side is relatively level, and then it drops off again toward the road. What we're proposing, and you can see the 50-foot line from the top of the bank. So there's not much of an alternative here in the way you can work with this property. But what we're proposing is to eliminate approximately 400 square feet of existing hardscape in the 50-foot buffer. Again, for those of you who were there, you know that there's a bocce court in this general vicinity. I can tell you from experience, it's a clay base that's as hard as concrete, and it does not drain. There's a turf lawn, and currently, let's see if I can get the other one. So currently there's a fair amount of hardscape that accesses the pool around the north and east sides as well. So that's going to be removed. Here's the bocce court. We're also proposing to convert the turf lawn to mixed fescue, which will reduce the amount of irrigation as well as chemical applications here. Reducing the amount of drainage that runs over bank in this location. We are proposing to install some drainage for the driveway, although here's the 100-foot demarcation, and this area is beyond commission jurisdiction. The existing septic system is also in this area on the street side of the house, so outside of the 100-foot mark. There's the utility boxes will be reconfigured into an area in the 50 to 100. The front access is going to be rebuilt with an entry. I don't know if any of you looked for the front door on this house, but at the moment it is almost indistinguishable. So the house is going to be, with this redesign, the house will actually have a front entry which people will be able to recognize. There are a few trees in the 50 to 100, 6, I believe, in your jurisdiction that will have to be taken down to accommodate the construction. They'll be replaced within your jurisdiction along the south perimeter. And the total amount of replication that's required here, considering the fact that we're taking 400 square feet of hardscape out of the 50, is only 300, and I'm not going to be able to find the number now, of 341 square feet we are proposing to put that as a block of planting, if you will, in this area. Again, the existing vegetation on the bank is, particularly along the top half of the bank, is very thick now, mostly Rosa rugosa. And we believe that replacing the turf lawn is probably as important here as anything else. The distance between the bank top and the house is really quite narrow. And for people to get around it and do maintenance in the future, we would prefer to leave that relatively open. That's the reason why we've chosen to put the mitigation in this location. It's the area where drainage most impacted the bank edge from that bocce court. And I'd be happy to try and answer questions that you might have.
Thank you, Arlene. Any question from the commissioner? Angela.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, Arlene, I'm pretty sure I got a good understanding of the jigsaw area that you're kind of trading off for in the resource area, and I understand you're removing trees, and I get that you're taking out the bocce court. I guess I was just hopeful that you could spread the mitigation area, even if it was only 2 feet at the top of that bank, to help more of that bank instead of being in the far corner. Couldn't you come across just in a 2-foot thing right in front of it? I'm not talking about putting, demarcation rocks or anything there, but couldn't you lose a little of that manicured lawn just to spread out what you've done in the corner a little further across? I'd love to go all the way across, but even if you came to halfway mark, is that something that you could consider?
So you're talking about bringing it over someplace in this area, Angela?
Yes, even if you could spread it so that from that corner, which I understand you're starting to do and you're taking out the bocce court there, but bring it across at least to the middle. And I'm talking about narrow, 2 feet away from that. It's got a beautiful boundary. Nobody's going to go over that bank, or the bank is very undisturbed there, but could you just lose a little lawn along that area?
Clearly, we would prefer not to, but if it was the commission's requirement, we would certainly do it.
It's just my opinion. I'd rather hear what other people have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. John?
Yeah, Angela, when I walked it, very interesting story, Arlene, as I tried to get in there, there were fire engines coming out. Okay, so I had a lot of trouble again, and I did, after 5 minutes, find the front door and meet Mr. Wheelo walking around. As I looked at that bank, Angela, in my opinion, is really looks very well vegetated, a lot of protection. I think the bocce court, and I walked over to it, it's as hard as cement. I mean, I'm gonna need a machine to dig that out. So I guess I normally would absolutely agree with Angela, but I'm okay either way. So I would go along with Angela, or I'm okay where it is now, because getting rid of that bocce court is going to make, I think, a significant difference to an already well-vegetated bank. So that's just my view. Either one is fine with me, Angela.
Okay,
Thank you, John. Bill?
Yeah, I'm sort of where John is. When she said about how the drainage over by the bocce court suggests that there's some erosion issues over there, I did not notice that. However, in general, we do like to try to spread that mitigation out, and so I'm supportive of Angela's comment, and I'd be, if anybody else, I mean, John's sort of on the fence. I'm 70% on Angela's spread it out. I don't know what others are thinking. I think it might be good, because it really, the lawn is right up to a de facto very steep bank. I mean, you can see right there, very steep, and I don't know. I think it should be spread out. I think I'm supportive of your idea, Angela. I don't know what others are thinking.
Yes, Tom Jeffrey.
Hi, Jeff.
Yes, run it all the way across at the 2 feet. Don't go halfway. Run it all the way, right at the edge of the bank.
He doesn't need that much mitigation to be in compliance, though, Jeff.
Yeah, it's a long wall.
Well,
Yeah, that's a lot more mitigation than is required for approval of this.
In terms of area, that's right.
I'm not discounting that, but what I'm trying to say is aesthetically, it's gonna look. To me, it's going to look disproportionate just running it across and just stopping it. Make it functional. And I know you can't mandate it from what you just told me, but perhaps the applicant would agree to the 2 foot all the way across.
Thank you, Jeff.
If I can jump in though, just one more time, Jeff, I respect where you're coming from in your view, but from a authorization or point of view, he's in compliance with the regulations and the requirements for mitigation. And Angela just suggested, from an environmental point of view, a better option if they're willing to do that. As I say, I would support Angela. I'd probably go, as Bill said, probably 60-40, Bill. Maybe that's 70. So, but I don't think we have the ability to require more mitigation than is otherwise regulatorily required. That's all. Although, if he can do what you suggest aesthetically, I think it'd be great.
Right. I mean, for permitting, can only require what is being needed to meet the mitigation requirements. Arlene, you want to do something?
Yeah, maybe I can make Jeff feel a little bit better. The existing Rugosa Rose, and I know it's very dense and it's hard to see, but it comes back about 12 inches to 18 inches over the top of the bank toward the house now. I think if we run a line about halfway across where Angela was talking about it, we can make it look a little more natural than having a hard 2 foot line. So if we need to spread it out, that's what we would prefer to do.
And that would be fine with me. Just taper it into the line that's already there on the wall. Thank you.
I just say, I just say from, if the bank was really in rough shape, which it is not, as we all saw when we were out there, I would mandate what Angela's suggestion.
Right.
I still think it's a good idea if they're willing to do it. That's all.
In terms of in the past, we have been asking if the bank is bad. I've been asking the applicant to spread it as a strip across, but I think this is fine. Channel 18, any public comment on this one?
Seeing none.
Oh, before I go, Ed, do you have any other comment?
No, nothing to add to the conversation. I would tend to agree that I think under this circumstance and given the specific site conditions, I don't know that you would necessarily have to spread that out, but it's up to the commission to make their decision.
Thank you, Ed. Arlene, I need some more dimensions on the revised plan in terms of the building changes. Right now, it's not quite showing, the dimensions.
I think those dimensions are on the architectural plans that we provided, but if they're not, we'll have them put on the site plan as well, Tom.
Yeah, please. So with this, could I have a motion to approve this project subject to receipt of a revised plan showing additional dimensions and the spread of the mitigations planting across the top halfway? I think that's it.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Avidili.
Aye.
Hearn.
Aye.
Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
And Tangney. Aye. That's 5 unanimous, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next is the Tobias Wells to repair, reconstruct, send back array originally authorized and constructed under SE 3-2677 and SE 3-2678. Provide beach nourishments and on bank planting as needed at 25 and 35 Cole Lane as the Austerville as shown on the assessors map 052 and 053, parcels 009 and 012-002. The applicants has request for a continuance without testimony to a date to be scheduled within 21 days of the receipt of the requested existing condition plan. Could I have a motions to continuance these applications to without testimony to a date to be scheduled within 21 days?
Whoa, I'm sorry. Tom, I could use some help here. I'm not sure that we can. I think as a public meeting, it opened up. I think we have to come up with a date specific. Don't we, Arlene? Isn't that right?
That's my understanding, John. There's language in the regulations that talks about the commission's ability to continue to a date within 21 days of the submission of extra information. But it also says that the applicant has the right to request to a date certain. I think Ed may want to chime in here because there's been some complication, and the language that you've heard, my understanding is, comes from town council. I would certainly prefer on behalf of the applicant to continue to a date certain. We had suggested the 9th of September originally, and I think that's what's on your agenda, but and it's easier for the public to follow it that way.
I think that was
I don't want to get you guys arguing with town council.
I just think because we've always said a date specific because of the public, so that they're given notice tonight if anybody is attending this hearing. So that's why, Tom, I don't ever remember approving a continuance without a date specific. I'm sorry, I don't think that's proper.
I understand that because I have been hearing both arguments stuff, and in the past we have a date certain. Initially, we have a tentative date, September the 9th, but then the town legal has kind of mentioning that that's not correct and do all that stuff. That's why I kind of using the same language in here. That's what we have authorized to do. And then, I mean, if we have to need a date, I can flow a tentative September the 9th date in there with that language.
And then the applicant can always come back if he or she or they need more time and ask for another continuance. That's not a problem. Why is Ed shaking his head? Ed shaking his head, that scares me. Ed?
You want to say anything or leave it?
Yeah, I was looking up trying to look up the citation that the lawyers gave us. I don't disagree with anything you're saying, John, but I was specifically told to do it this way. There are three ways of continuing a hearing according to 310 CMR, and I'm trying to look it up and I can't get anything to work fast enough right now. So
I don't understand. Again, I plead ignorance. I don't understand what. I mean, we have always done a date specific with a clear understanding. That if they're not ready, they just ask for another continuance with no testimony. So it's pretty easy. I don't know why I don't understand why there'd ever be a legal concern to say we can't come up with a date specific. It boggles my mind. And again, I wasn't part of any conversations, Ed, but
this is
20 years we've never done this.
I think we should do the September 9th and move on. I mean, you've been around, 20 years, John, and never.
Well,
we've never done this.
That's right. And I was 10 years old when I joined.
And if it's legal and has been all along, and September 9th works for them, what the heck? I mean, why?
The applicant wants it, we want it, and I think from the public point of view, it's important. Okay, said enough.
Let me just cover both angles in terms of the continuance. It's scheduled within 21 days, submission of the requested existing condition plan, but tentatively it will be September the 9th. Cover both ends. How's that? So I make the motions.
What was the motion, Tom? I'm sorry.
The motion is to continue this application without testimony to a date to be scheduled within 21 days.
Sure. I'm going to vote against it.
And then tentatively it will be September the 9th.
I would schedule September the 9th, Tom. I'm not comfortable with doing that. Again, I have not been part of any conversations, but I've been part of a lot of history in my understanding of the authority, and certainly from a public notification point of view. Arlene, you predate me. I mean, isn't that right?
John, isn't he doing that by saying both? He's making a motion to make a continuance within 21 days, which would fall on September 9th. Isn't he saying that?
Didn't sound
That's
like
not what I heard.
That's not what I heard either. He was going back.
Saying that within 21, but tentative would be the September the 9th.
Well, just make it September the 9th. They can always come in and ask for a continue. I don't understand the issue, Tom. I apologize.
Okay. A motion to continue this application without testimony to September the 9th.
So moved.
Second.
Abadili.
Aye.
Hearn.
Aye.
Kashulik.
Aye.
Tangney, aye. And Lee.
Aye.
That's
Thank you.
unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The last
You're going to have to explain to me sometime what that other. It's just novel to me, and I apologize for not understanding it.
No,
Give me a call tomorrow, John. I'll tell you.
No, thank you. I might do that.
Just read 310 CMR 10.055B3. It's all there. 10.5B. Look at it.
Send it to me tomorrow. Yeah, just thank you.
So the last NOI is Nicholas S. Theohardis. A vacant property up to 55-foot buffer and construct a single-family owned home at 0 Maple Street, West Barnstable, as shown on the Assessors Map 108, parcel 008-001. Is Dan?
Good evening, Craig Ferrari here from Down Cape Engineering.
Yeah, go ahead, Craig.
So this is to construct a. Let me see if I can share my screen here with you just so you can see the plan. Single family home on this vacant piece of land. This is a nice 5-acre parcel here with about over 3 acres of upland. So this dwelling, septic, driveway, all of the hardscape features we've been able to locate outside the 100-foot buffer to the bordering vegetative wetland. That's the old overgrown bog in the back of the property. So the request here is to be able to clear the lot down to the 50-foot buffer. That's just due to the natural slope of this lot. They're going to have to do some minor regrading activities within that 50 to 100-foot buffer. But again, all the hardscape has been able to be situated just outside that 100-foot. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Craig. Any question from the commissioner?
Yeah, I do.
Bill?
It references vernal pool habitat in, I believe, pools of the intermittent stream. And I believe it referred to mapped with flags C1 to C6, but on the plan I see no C1 to C6. Where are these vernal pools?
I'm not aware of any, but there might be in the ponds near the stream. I'd have to consult with that wetlands report again.
So vernal pools, and it even referenced, I want to say, wood frogs and salamanders, and their documented egg masses. And so that kind of habitat is usually protected with 100-foot diameter around that kind of habitat. And here you're going to be clearing the down to the 50-foot buffer. Not knowing where the vernal pool habitat is makes me reluctant to buy into shaving back. I mean, I don't know where it is. I think that's to me an important habitat feature that you want to preserve.
Well, I mean, as you can see on the plan here, that stream and anywhere the pools would be well within that BVW area. So you've got quite an additional area that's from the wetland edge down into where the old kind of ditch of the bog would be there.
Right. And another thought I had was relative to the clearing, going straight back to the clearing down to the 50-foot buffer. Is it possible to go within 60 feet, just trying to again protect the vernal pool habitat and the general natural habitat there? Do you have to go all the way to the 50?
I mean, there are a couple areas there that I tried to pull it back from the 50. I mean, I tried to give them a little flexibility. Again, it's kind of a steep sloping site, so I wanted to give them a little room to be able to grade this and be able to create some flat areas around the house. So, I did try and pull back the buffer, where I could there. And it's, again, all the placement of the hardscape and the house are well outside of it. So I don't think this client is necessarily talking about clear cutting the entire area within that work limit line. I'm sure they'd like to save some of the specimen trees in there.
Yeah, well, the trees, that's another point. Is it, you going to leave some trees? Is that something that can be placed in the plan, that there would be some?
I mean, it's difficult with such a large site to be able to go and pick which trees specifically they'd be saving. And again, we're trying to establish, greater than a 50-foot buffer that we're maintaining in its natural state here.
Greater than a 50-foot buffer. Yeah,
right. So the sections, this section up here, I've pulled up the work limit line.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Additional buffer space, and down here this is greater than 50 feet in this area. So I tried to make it, a compromise here.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Thanks, Bill. Angela?
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. It sounded like you're going to clear cut all the way to the 50, but what you're saying is we want the ability to do that, but you will try to leave some trees along this densely wooded area if you can, and it might only be 60 at some points. I got it. Thank you for your explanation.
On the plan, let me see here. On the plan you have there, you have some dimensions that I don't have on my plan. Is it a revised plan?
Yeah, so this is a revised plan. Ed requested that we just add a couple dimensions on the house there, just so you could see, some of the overall dimensions of that.
Ed, do you have a copy of this?
I believe it was emailed out.
Do you know what the date is on this revised plan?
So this one is July 31st.
Okay. Any other question from the commissioner? Seeing none?
Mr. Chairman, just to let you know too, I just looked up Mass Mapper. I don't see any certified vernal pools on the parcel. There is one to the west of that parcel.
Thank you, Ed.
Thanks, Ed.
Any public comment on this one?
Seeing none.
None. I thought I saw it. I saw a hand up.
From an Amy or Annie?
Is that correct?
Yes, I had my hand up for a minute.
Do you want to speak? Do you have a comment?
I just wanted to clarify the vernal pool situation. I'm on a butter and I know the area very well, and the vernal pool is at least 200, 300 feet away from toward the west of this plan. It's not shown. The plan it's not backed out enough to really see where it's over there where your hand is, even further over.
Okay.
Because my driveway is the west boundary, and then the vernal pool is on the other side of my driveway.
Okay.
Good.
So it's really not close to here, and there's really no body of water in there anywhere around really where the house is. There's no pools.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yep.
Amy, could I get your last name and your address for the record?
Sure. It's Britton. And it's 500, number 500.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
Chandler, any more public comment on this one?
Seeing none.
Could I have a motion to approve this project with a revised plan date July 31st?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Byrne,
Aye.
Koshulik,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
and Tangney, aye. That's 5 and unanimous, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We have 5 continuances. The first one is Cheryl J. Hawkins to demolish the existing single-family dwelling and construct a new single-family dwelling, a pool, patio, and all associated premises at 38 Sandpoint Road, Osterville, shown on the Assessors Map 073, Parcel 018. This is a continuance from June 24th and July 08. The quorum is every commissioner. Who is this? John?
Yes, sir. John O'Day from Sullivan Engineering Consulting. Also here is Peter Stevens, the landscape architects with Dan Gordon Associates. I'll pull the plan up for you. When we were, just to remind you, when we were before you on July 8th, we had a project. We were reducing square footage in the 50. We were reducing square footage in the 100. We were pulling further away from the bank. Pretty good project. The commission asked us to kind of go back and I think really take a fine-tooth comb to it, see if there's anything else that we could do. They asked if we could look at maybe relocating the spa. I think there was an understanding that the whole program has been based on trying to get the pool into the backyard. Asked if we could look into relocating the spa. Asked if we could look into, is there any additional hardscape to be trimmed out? Is there any possibility of getting more buffer enhancement? We got together with the architects and the landscape architects, and I think we've come up with a plan that has all 3. Again, the spa was down in this sort of southeast corner of the patio area. We've pulled it out of the 50-foot buffer. We've trimmed a couple 100 square feet more of hardscape out, sort of to the north of the pool and heading this way, and then an additional area trimmed back up off the north patio. And we have doubled the width of the buffer enhancement area. So I hope that we've been responsive to the commission's comments and would be happy to answer any questions you might have on this.
Thank you, John. Any questions from the commissioner?
I guess I do.
Angela?
I just wanted to say thank you for addressing some of the concerns after we realized it was built around the orientation of the pool, because I couldn't tell on mine where you had cut some of the patio and you did move the spa. So I just wanted to thank you for being responsive. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Bill?
Yeah, I guess I had looked at the plan that we had previously, and I didn't see a difference. Is the proposed patio basically at the top of the, where is there a change, if you could?
So again, we moved the spa, and then the patio before, there had been sort of seating area on this north side, and it went like, I can't draw perfectly square with this pencil, but we trimmed this all out. And then up on the north side, again, that patio was wider before. So we trimmed back some of this area as well.
Bill, for whatever it's worth, I try to compare the old and the new, and I think John's analysis is accurate.
Okay.
From what I saw as a link.
Okay, well, thank you very much, John.
Yeah, you have to look at the 2 plans and compare.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's
I kind of did, but I always had problems with those when I was a kid.
Stronger glasses, Bill, stronger glasses.
John, the only question I have though on the mitigations, planting area, do you have that demarcation line?
We do not have demarcation along the line noted on the plan.
Okay. Can you put one on?
We can put one on.
Okay. Channel 18, any public comment on this one?
Seeing none.
None. Could I have a motion to approve this project subject to receipt of a revised plan showing the demarcation line and an annual report of 3 years?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Koshulik,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
and Tangney, aye. That's unanimous, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
The second continuance is Stephen and Wendy D'Angelo to remove an existing ram and float system and permit a new pier, ram, and float at 108 Long Beach Road, Sandyville, as shown on the Assessors Map 206, Parcel 005. This is a continuance from July the 8th, and the applicants have requested for a continuance without testimony to September the 9th. Could I have a motions to continue these applications without testimony to September the 9th?
So moved.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Koshulik,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
and Tangney, aye. That's unanimous. That's a second continuance. Yes, thank you.
The third continuance is Robert and Pamela Grimley to demolish existing single-family dwelling and construct new single-family dwelling with patio and spa and all associated purposes and vegetated bank restoration at 64 Bayview Road, Austinville, as shown on the Assessors Map 093, Parcel 054. This is a continuance from July the 15th. Before I open this, I want to recognize Jeff. Jeff, I recognize you. You are recusing yourself on this one. I just want to mention.
Yeah, the next three applications, Tom.
Okay. Thank you. John?
Got it.
Yes, good evening. John O'Day from Sullivan Engineering Consulting, here representing the applicants. Also with me in the meeting room is Duke Bitsko from Wilkinson Ecological. I will bring up our plans for you all. This project site's located at 64 Bayview Road in Osterville. It's about a 2-acre parcel. We have an existing dwelling that was constructed in the 50s and added to in the 80s. We are surrounded to the east, south, and west by salt marsh. We also have a coastal bank along a portion of the southerly and westerly property lines. As was stated, the project is to demolish the existing dwelling. We provided this plan showing the existing features in red for the commissioners to maybe make it a little bit clearer and construct a new dwelling. We are resulting in a reduction in square footage in the 50-foot buffer, an overall reduction in hardscape square footage on the property. We are increasing the closest setback to the resources. If you can you see my pencil? There's an existing deck that wraps around the southwest portion of the house, which is going to be eliminated. And even the house wall itself along that closest portion over there is being pulled further away from those resources. We are proposing and have been approved by the Board of Health to do an upgraded septic system. That system will incorporate nitrogen-reducing technologies, which have been approved by DEP as best available technologies for improving septic systems. Although they're based on the hardscape square footages, We have a required mitigation of around negative 2,000 square feet. We have come up with Wilkinson. I'll switch to their plan momentarily and let them walk you through it a little bit. And they have a few slides. But we have come up with some thousands of square feet of vegetation restoration along the bank, as well as mitigation in the form of lawn removal and or where existing house presently sits on the property. I will switch to their plan unless Duke you want. I'm not sure if you're set up to do your own sharing, but I have it open if there's anything on the plan you'd like me to be pointing to, or like I said, I can close if you think you're set up to share yourselves.
John, who's that from Wilkinson?
Commissioners, my name is Duke Bitsko. I'm with Wilkinson Ecological Design. I think I sent 4 or 5 slides. Do you have those?
You did, yes. I can flip to those as well.
I can go through those very quickly. Commissioners, for the record, my name is Duke Bitsko. The goal of the restoration plan is to establish native plant community and vegetative buffer along and above the coastal bank and salt marsh, which will result in increased plant diversity, improved wildlife habitat, and cleansing and infiltration of stormwater runoff. This slide, for anyone who wasn't able to visit the site, these photos were taken last November 2024 and identify both invasive and native plant species to the west and south of the existing house. Phragmites and shrub honeysuckle were prominent. They're located within the resource and buffer areas. Other invasive, state-listed invasive species include rugosa rose, English ivy, Chinese silvergrass, which is miscanthus, and Asiatic bittersweet. If you go to the next one, please. This figure, unfortunately, it wasn't included in your packets, but we thought it might be interesting to include and help simplify what we're proposing. It represents the proposed extent of invasive plant management and restoration zones. The 3 different combined zones represent approximately 4,000 square feet of habitat restoration and new creation. The green area, which you see closest to the salt marsh, totals over half or 50%. That includes invasive species management and restoration. So new plantings, new seeding, and removing of invasive species. The yellow area identifies approximately 1,400 square feet of existing lawn area and planted areas that are going to be converted to native habitat, while the purple zone that you see there closest to the house represents approximately 600 square feet of hardscape or impervious area converted to native habitat. So we're talking about 4,000 square feet total. Next slide, please. This area, which is, you can see it's faint green, highlighted in green, is targeted for the removal of the 4,000 square feet and restoration. We're proposing to use salt marsh plug plantings, native shrubs, and an upland meadow seeding mix. The restoration plan of proposed restoration includes the plantings associated with the native high salt marsh, coastal shrubland, and upland grassland system. This is what was submitted to the plan, to the commission as far as our restoration plan. Next, please. Just to give you an understanding of what we're proposing to plant, the salt marsh restoration includes invasive species management and the planting of 7 highly valuable and diverse species, including the ones shown here to the left and photographs to the right. And then the native shrubs along and just above the high tide zone include marsh elder, sweet fern, the Carolina rose, and the bayberry. And finally, I just wanted to include a slide that shows the seed mix, which is the coastal upland grass that is a typical grassland mix that we include. I wanted to show what it looks like. It's a relatively short mix. It's about 3 to 3.5 feet tall. And these are images that show what the grass mix looks like basically in the spring and summer and the fall and early winter. So that's it. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. Can we have a copy of your presentation? I think you mentioned a couple slides that we don't have in the file.
Absolutely.
John, in this plan, what is the date on this revised plan?
This is nothing footprint wise has changed on this plan. It was just making it red. So I didn't even do this as a revision box.
Okay.
We did also, and I don't know whether it was for plan purposes or just for understanding, we did add dimensions to the proposed building, which if you do want those put onto the actual formal plan,
right,
can do that. But this is not a stamped formal revision date at this point. This was just for presentation.
Okay. I just want to clarify it because I was looking at it and could not find the date. Angela.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Yeah, no, John, I think that was my question, was the revised plan was just marking in red the original footprint that you are now reducing. There's a reduction in the 50. However, you are deeper in the resource. Even though there's less in the resource, you have come deeper into it with the corners of the proposed patio and the proposed spa. However, I didn't see before. Now, thank you for presenting that, the square footage of that mitigation and proposed bank restoration project. Now, I feel there's a balance here that I didn't see before. So thank you. It's all new to me tonight from seeing what was here in July to seeing what's here now. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Any other question from the commissioner? John?
Thank you, Tom. I walked this twice the last time and today. This is just from my education, John, or somebody. If you look down where that area that's kind of sticking out, it says provide dry wells for roof and patio runoff, that area.
Yes.
If you go down there and if you go to the little corner down at the bottom, there is a box or something in the ground and water, probably rainwater or something. Do you happen to know what that is, John, or somebody? It's like a box that's raised and sitting on the ground or something, and there was water running underneath it. I didn't know what it was.
I don't know. I would be happy to look into it. When I haven't walked down to the bottom of the bank and the trail probably since we were doing the survey out there a year or two ago.
Yeah.
I didn't kind of walk out of the developed area when we were staking this, but we can certainly look.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, overall, the environmental benefits from this plan are pretty obvious and great. And so my question was more out of curiosity because I've never seen anything like that. So if you let me know, great, just for my own education. That's all.
Take a peek.
Well, since you mentioned about that proposed dry well, maybe I'll chime in my comment at this point. John, do you know what that groundwater level is in that locations on those dry wells?
We would have had the groundwater on our septic's details sheet, so we can double cross-check that. I would guess it's around elevation 1, and the grade of that is around 5. So this would be a shallower chamber. We did not go with a sort of our standard 600 or 1,000 gallons, which are 4 or 6 feet deep. We were going more with a shallower chamber on these drainage structures because of that groundwater.
I just want to make sure you recognize that, because to me the groundwater will be high on these locations, and
yes, sir.
I'm going to have those standard dry well design stuff. So, okay, thanks, Bill.
Yeah, I applaud the new septic system. I think that's really great. The reduced driveway in the 0 to 50 has a lot to do with why there's no increased hardscape in the 0 to 50. And yet I found it really hard to figure out where exactly is the driveway, where was it, and where is it going to be? I think I'm good with this project, but final comment, I really like what you've done with this red outline. It makes it so much easier to see what the heck is going on. If to the extent that commissioners can get a plan from you guys next, in other projects that are in red, I really appreciate it. It helps a lot.
Bill, I would second that. It's when you get a total tear down, and it really makes a big difference.
I mean, it's like, I just couldn't figure some of the stuff. So anyway, the driveway is like a big deal here in terms of mitigation. Where was it, and where is it going to be now?
So the driveway today really goes from, this hatched thicker red there's a sort of landscape wall to the left when you're coming in.
Yeah.
And there's a landscape wall towards the right when you're coming in. And it is essentially paved side to side to side. So you're right, there is a significant reduction in this area where we're trimming back. This was sort of the proposed line.
Oh, the new one.
The new one.
Yep.
So there is a significant sort of reduction in this corner from the driveway. The deck is also a good chunk of area that's coming out on the other corner.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had the same sort of concern that Angela was hinting at, which is down on the south side. All this new proposed patio jutting out in the south east side corner, if you will. But yeah, I'm good with this project. Try to provide those red outlines. That's really great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Bill. Any more comment from the commissioner? None. Channel 18, any public comment on this one?
Seeing none.
None. Could I have a motion to approve this projects with the condition of the annual report of 3 years?
So moved.
Anyone second?
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
and Tagney, aye. That's 4, unanimous for us.
Thank you. Good luck, John.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a nice night.
Good night, John.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
The next NOI is the next continuance for the town of Barnstable DBW proposed maintenance dredging of main entrance channel and Bluffs Point boat ramp access channel to the previous authorized depths at 307 Millway Road, Barnstable, as shown on Assessors Map 301, parcel 064. This was continued from July the 22nd, and we're waiting for the NHSP letter. And Ed, did we have the letter?
No, we have not. I just checked my email. I don't know if Kim checked, but I don't have it in mind.
So, Jimmy, I think we would need a continuance for this. Do you want the August the 12th?
It's commissioners. Yes, please.
Okay. Could I
take that it was enough time. Yeah. But I've been checking with Heritage. I called last week, and I called Monday too, and followed up today.
Okay.
Yep. For the record, Jimmy Hill, Fourth Infrastructure and Environment, on behalf of the town of Barnstable.
Thank you, Jimmy. Could I?
I think it's just the 4 of us on this, just 4 voting on this.
It is.
Right.
The next.
Right, Angela? Okay.
Yep, correct.
Yep.
So could I have a motion to continue these applications to August the 12th?
So moved.
Waiting for the NHSP letter.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
Hearn,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
and Tagney, aye. That's unanimous for the 4 of us to August 12th. Continuance.
Thank you. The last continuance is 103 Long Beach Road LLC, care of Stephen D'Angelo, to raise an existing detached garage and rebuild a detached garage with accessory dwelling units, construct a screen porch, implement mitigation plantings and all associated landscaping, grading, and appurtenances at 103 Long Beach Road, Centerville, as shown on the Assessors Map 205, parcel 017. This is a continuance from July the 22nd, waiting for the NHSP letter, and we have received that letter dated August the 1st. Under the wetland protection nets, the division has determined that this project will not adversely affect the actual resource area habitat stated listed rare species, rare wildlife. Under the MESA, the division has determined that this project will not result in prohibited take of state-listed rare species. So with that, could I have a motions to close the public hearing and authorize the staff to issue the order of conditions?
So moved.
Yep, second. And can I just make a comment, Tom?
Yep.
Yeah, thank you very much, because they did also in the revised plan, move the garage as we asked them to and spread out that mitigation planning. So I wanted it noted that those changes were also made. Thank you.
Yep.
I think that was the request at that last meeting, wasn't it, Angela, to do those
Yes.
things?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and they did exactly what we had asked for. So I'm very happy about that. I wanted to thank them. Thank you.
Yeah, they sent it up this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And
Could I make, Tom, could I make a comment?
Sure.
Yeah, in my notes from the last meeting, it said that they were going to provide new mitigation calculations, which they did, and they were going to show where the plantings were going to be, and they showed where the plantings were going to be, but there was no mention of what they're actually planting there. Do we have some way of ensuring that the plantings that are being done for mitigation there are suitable, because it's right up against a dune? That may be a question for Ed, but I mean, they didn't have any specification on number of plants, what kind of plants or whatever. And we had asked that. It was identify the plantings and, where it was going to be. And they did. They showed it, but it doesn't say anything.
Bill, if I could jump in, I recall, you're right, you're absolutely correct, in my opinion. And the approval that we gave them, holding for this letter, of course, but we otherwise approved the project subject to receiving a revised plan that showed X, Y, Z. Some of which, as Angela said, is correct. You're also correct that maybe the revision we got did not show what we asked it to show. So that's a long way of saying I agree with you, man.
so I mean, how do we have Ed make sure that the plantings are adequate in the area where there is this mitigation planning?
Yeah.
There must be some simple way of doing that. I don't know.
Well, they got to submit a plan for Ed to look at to make sure it complies with what our approval was.
Right. If Ed needs to revise that, he can go back to the applicant to get the revised plan.
Before he accepts it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that was left off.
So I make the motions, and anyone second?
I think Angela seconded it, didn't you?
I think so. And then I interrupted everybody. Sorry.
Okay.
Second.
I think I made a motion and Angela accepted it. A second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
Hearn.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
And Tangney, aye. That's unanimous, the four of us.
We have one certificate of compliance, Christopher Bushing, SE3-5888. Could I motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
Hearn.
Aye.
Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
And Tangney, aye. That's 5 and unanimous.
We have 2 sets of minutes, but we have to vote each one separately. If the first one is July 15th.
So I make a motion to accept the minutes from July 15th, and it will be Abadili.
Aye.
Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
And Sampu's absent, so that's 3 of you. Can they be accepted with just 3?
Yes, I think so.
We're all good with that? I mean, I read them. So we're good. And then I make the motion to accept the minutes for July 22nd.
Second.
Second.
Abadili.
Aye.
Hearn.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
And Tangney, aye. So that's unanimous for us 4.
And our next hearing is the 3 o'clock on August the 12th. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
Hearn.
Aye.
Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Tangney, aye. It's 7:50.